Rates. Everybody keeps asking me about what's going on with mortgage rates. My name's Ed Huck with Keller Williams Realty. And if you give me about 5 minutes of your time, you'll find out everything you need to know about Northeastern Ohio's real estate market update for September 2024. So let's dive into this. So quick overview of what's been going on. Core inflation is getting under control, especially when you pull out housing from those numbers. The federal government is really happy with that. The Fed is continuing to expect, I guess they've already reduced the rates, the prime rate once, so getting ready to do that again. And that's a great sign. Unemployment's only ticked up a tiny bit. It's at 4.7. It was about 4.5. And locally, it should say most instead of soast. Most sectors of our local real estate economy are doing well. So that's a great sign. Mortgage rates. So if you look at this is actually exciting to look at. Rates have ticked down. They're actually under 6.5 right now. So that's great news. If you go back and look at a year ago, they were over 7. So again, they're in the low 6s. They're continuing to trend downward. You know, when the Federal Reserve meets again in a couple of weeks, everybody's already guessed that they're going to lower the rate. That's already been baked into today's mortgage rates. I did spend a couple hours on some webinars yesterday, learning more about what's going to happen in the coming months. And everybody expects the 30-year fixed rate to get under 6% by probably the first quarter of next year, maybe even the second quarter at worst. So we are seeing rates continuing to head downward. So that's great news if you're in the real estate market. Or if you've purchased a house in the last couple of years and you're sitting with a rate that's over 7, you get to that under 6% point, you really should start considering refinancing. Let's talk about the real estate market. So the number of new listings is about the same this year to date versus last year to date. So the market kind of feels a little bit similar to last year. So there's the same amount of new listings and the same amount of current available homes for sale. Number of homes pending, though, and homes under contract, those are both down a little bit when you compare it to last year to date. So our homes under contract, which is pending, that means the month they went under contract. So we're down about 2%. And then the solds or the transfers are down about 1.5%. So not a ton, but we are seeing, again, the number of transfers actually down a little bit. Average sale price. Good news if you own a home. Average sale price continues to track up. Right now, this year to date versus last year to date, we're sitting at about 5.6%. I also love to look at the rolling 12. And what that is it's the previous 12 months versus the next previous 12 months. So basically it looks, we've got to take we take 24 months and cut it in half. And it also helps kind of even out seasonality when we look at it this way. So when you look at it that way, the average sale price, and this is all of Cuyahoga, Lorain, and Medina County, the appreciation rate's at about 5.7%. So that's fantastic. So, and it's weird to say this, but I'm actually glad it's not at that 10, 11, 12% that we were seeing, because you cannot sustain that kind of appreciation. So this is down way back more into moderates to / normal, I would call them, levels. Also like to look at average asking prices. So this kind of is a trend to see what sellers are asking. So right now the average asking price is about has gone up 11% versus last year to date. And it's also about up 11% when you look at the rolling 12. So again, that's not what they're under contract for, but this is what sellers are asking. Days on market is, I would say, flat. So this year to date versus last year to date, we're tracking 1 day faster. So homes are going under contract 1 day faster this year than they were last year. That does equate to be about down 2.5%. But again, that's not a big number when you're looking at 1. Oops, give me clicking. I got click happy there for a second. Months worth of inventory. When you look at how many months worth of inventory. So what that means is if we currently had 50 homes for sale, how long would it take for all 50 of those houses to go under contract? Right now, they're tracking at about 1.6 months. And it's flat. So this year versus last year. So homes are selling about the same clip as they were last year. And then to kind of put that more in perspective, and then, to talk about, I've had a lot of folks say, oh, when's the market going to crash? We heard the market's going to crash. Our local market, real estate market, I do not see crashing at all. So much so that I'm still in the market for buying rental properties. So if I thought it was going to be crashing, I wouldn't be buying long-term rentals, but I am. So this is a quick graph that shows you the number of homes that are currently for sale. And then the dark green is the transfers. And I went back to 2009. So basically the last 15 years worth of inventory amount. So to show you what's been going on. When you look back at 2009, that's how many homes were for sale. 10, 11, 12,000 homes for sale. And you go back to here, the last quarter of, so this would be the second quarter of 2024, we're looking at about 2,000 homes for sale. So we just don't have the inventory that we've had. You have probably also heard us use the term buyer's market and seller's market. When you look at this, this really helps kind of explain it to you in a more detailed graph. I know some of you, I probably already lost already because you're not into all these graphs and numbers. But for the fun folks that love this stuff, I love talking about this. So if you dig in here, if we have more than 6 months worth of inventory, it's what we consider a buyer's market. If it's between 3 and 6, it's what we would consider a neutral market. If it's under 3 months of inventory, we would call it a seller's market. We talked a few seconds ago that we have about 1.6 months worth of inventory, right? So we've been in this seller's market since about 2017. That's kind of when we crossed that line. So it's been about 7 years that we've been in this seller's market. We kind of bottomed out in 2020, 2021, but you can see here, we're still in this really solid seller's market. People say, oh, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. Prices aren't coming down. They might level off again, and we might not appreciate it 5%. Maybe we appreciate it 2 or 3 or 1. But because we don't have enough homes to sell, and there's still a lot of pent-up demand for buyers to want to jump on houses, it's not like the people that are sitting on the sidelines are all of a sudden going to see houses that start to depreciate, at least not here. The other thing you notice here too is we were in this neutral market for about 3 years. And then if you look back even farther, and I didn't pull up the stats, but we were in this buyer's market for probably 5 or 6 years, for about 5 years, I would call it. So even if things start to slide back up to a neutral market, it could take a couple years for that to happen. So this doesn't happen overnight unless we have some huge financial crisis like we did in 2008. So that's another point I want to show you here is that these markets don't swing overnight. It takes a long time for these markets to swing. So in review, home mortgage rates are headed down. Homes priced right and in beautiful condition are still selling really quickly. We still have a shortage of new homes and rentals and new construction, and it's still a very, very strong seller's market. So if you want more detailed information about what's happening in your neighborhood, let us know. These stats that I just shared are for, pretty much all of Northeastern Ohio, but each market and each neighborhood is very, very specific. If your agent that you're working with is not sharing with you this data, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We pride ourselves on really being market experts and letting you know what's happening out there that affects your home value. So make it a great week and let us know if you have questions. Take care.